Hey everybody, welcome to 10-Minute Tuesday. If you are new here, my name is Crys'Dawna. I am a furniture artist. Every Tuesday we go over different stuff. What I wanted to do is come back to a Q&A type platform for the next few weeks. I did that in the very beginning of this 10-Minute Tuesday series, and I just wanted to give you guys a chance to ask a lot of questions and I can answer them for you. So if you aren't new, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming back. Again, if you're new, what I'm gonna do is set my timer for 10 minutes and I'm gonna answer as many questions as I possibly can. I actually have my laptop here, so that way I can look directly at your questions that you have. So let's do 10 minutes. And if I don't answer your question on today, then I will probably answer it next week. I have been actually typing in answers. It depends on what your question is. If it needs a little bit more in depth, then I ask you to email me. So let's start our 10 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna start from the very bottom and work our way up. How easy or hard was it to start up your business? And would you do anything differently in the beginning? Okay, so I started my business about 5 years ago, and there were furniture artists then, but not quite as many. I think that it has grown and there's a lot more people that have come, and it just landed in my lap it was an accident. I was doing stuff for my own house, and then my husband said, oh, hey, you should sell this stuff. And I didn't realize that that was a thing, or that could be a thing. And so I started doing it and I really enjoyed it. And then I was like, okay, I don't really want to do these neutral pieces. I'm going to do a few colored pieces and do whatever I want. And I would put them up for sale. And then I started getting people who would ask me to do color, and I started getting custom work, things like that. Now, I would say one thing that I wish I would have changed in the beginning of my business. I wouldn't say I wished I changed it, but this is my advice to you if you're just starting, is don't take things outside of your realm that you are comfortable with. So one time, this is gonna sound really insane, but I took a Lazy Boy recliner and I reupholstered it. I'm pretty sure it probably wasn't the best job ever that could have been, but it was not what I wanted to do. I think I just took it. In the beginning of your business, a lot of times you take things that are out of your wheelhouse. So if it is something that you are not comfortable doing, or you do not know how to do it 100%, I would say pass on it. It's okay to pass on stuff. Or if it's something that you're not comfortable with, or maybe you're super into brights and someone asks you to paint white, it's okay to say no. Or vice versa, if someone asks you to paint something super bright and you're more of a neutral person, it's okay to pass on stuff. I think I felt like in the beginning of my business that if I passed on things, then people would talk and I wouldn't get any business, but that's not true. So as long as you stick with it and you put out quality work, if anything, it will hurt your business. If you're doing stuff that you are not 100% qualified to do, then you're not putting out work that is what you want to go behind your brand. So hopefully that answers your question. I would say now, if you're starting, there are a lot of people. Just do your thing. Use social media. I know this sounds crazy. I know people don't like social media, but I teach a marketing, or I teach a class, a university class for marketing and social media through Dixie, Belle. They ask me to teach the retailers. And one thing I always say is social media is free advertising, okay? So get yourself a business name, first of all. Think of a business name. Create a Facebook page, create an Instagram, create a Pinterest, create all that stuff. Even if you don't plan on doing it right away, create those platforms with your business name and then try to work at each one. You don't have to do everything at once, but try to work at a little bit at a time. So if your goal, make goals for yourself. Make a goal of building your Facebook a little bit, and then kind of work on your Instagram, like sprinkle it around, right? So think about it as planting. You have this one big tree that you're really trying to focus on, but you've got a couple little flowers around it. So you can't neglect the flowers while you're trying to focus on this tree. So make a big goal and then have little tiny goals. It does seem overwhelming, but over time, it will kind of start taking off, hopefully. So that's my advice to you. Angela, you are so funny. Where do you keep your finished pieces so they don't get damaged by kids/animals? Okay, so my house in Germany is, I don't have a 2-car garage like I did in the States. We do have a garage, but we use that more for my husband working out and making sure that he can put his car in there. Now, I will put pieces down there if someone's about to pick it up. So this is the area I work in, and when something's done, I take it down to the garage so that they can back their car up and get it. I do have a laundry room that I put everything in and I put a blanket on. My kids are really good. I know not a lot of people have that, but I have 1 dog, and then I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they've been around furniture their whole life pretty much, so they know not to touch the stuff. So I'm really lucky in that aspect that I have brought them up around it, so they're not interested in it. And my dog's well trained, so he's not going to be peeing on people's stuff and chewing on things. So I'm lucky to have a well-behaved dog and well-behaved children, I guess, is my point. But I put a blanket over it still. Okay, do I sand between top coats and after your final coat? Yes, I do. I take a very fine grit sandpaper, probably 320 or above, in between coats to smooth it out, get any kind of dust that may have settled on there. And then the very final coat, if I put my hand over it and it doesn't feel like pleasing to me, I know it sounds really weird. If it doesn't feel smooth to me, then I will take an even higher grit and just do a little final sand, because I don't want to scuff it. I don't want to mess up the look of the clear coat, but I want to make sure that I'm knocking anything down. So that's when you would take like 500 and above and just kind of smooth it out really fast. So that's what I do with that. Okay, for someone just getting started, which furniture pieces are the easiest or most likely to sell the best? This is where you need to know your demographic. In the US, people have closets, okay? So in the US, people have closets, and so they can hang all their clothes. And so dressers are also a big thing in the US because people like to put their stuff on there. They like to fold their clothes. And the rooms are bigger. So dressers are a big seller in the US. Buffets are a big seller in the US. Coffee tables are not really a big seller in the US. So if you stick with like dresser type furniture, people are always looking to change. Whether it's like an entryway table, a buffet, something like that. I know they seem like bigger pieces, but dressers can also double as buffets in an area. So in the US, I'd say dressers and buffets are probably the top selling piece of furniture. Now, with me being in Germany, dressers are hard to come by. That's not really a thing here. They do have dressers, but it's more, a lot of people go to IKEA for that kind of stuff, or they have wardrobes because they don't have closets here. They have big wardrobes that they buy from IKEA that are almost wall units, and that substitutes as a closet. And so for me, what I try to focus on here is smaller pieces, like entryway pieces, really like just smaller little like side buffet type tables. I don't do a lot of big dressers unless it's a custom. I don't do a lot of pieces, and if you see a lot of big pieces, and if you see me doing a bigger piece, chances are my client is an American. So know your surroundings, where you're at. If you are in Australia, there's going to be different things. In the UK, it's going to be different. So focus or think about are the homes like? Are there closets? Are there not closets? And ask people too. Say, what do you see selling? Or, if there's a local furniture artist that is willing to kind of answer your questions, ask them as well. But I would say if you're in the States, dressers and buffets are big sellers. Maybe nightstands. And then if you're in Europe, a lot of times just those side little pieces where people can kind of put in their entryway, stuff like that. Not big pieces, because the homes in Europe are not as big as the US. And in the UK, they're even smaller than here in Germany. So be cognizant of that as well. Let's see. Do you ever feel like you put more time and effort into a piece than when you get reimbursed for it? Yes. Yes, I do. I do this. My husband just said this about something that I did earlier this year, and he was like, you always undersell yourself. You always do more work, but that's just how I am. I do way more work than I still have the problem. I wish I could tell you guys I feel like I need someone to be like, these are her prices. I just feel bad because I love it so much. Plus a big part of my community is military. I think if I went back to the States, I would feel a little bit different, but being here, when you come overseas as military, a lot of the spouses, whether they are a male spouse to a female military member or vice versa, you have to leave your job and there's not as many job openings. And so you're going down from 2 incomes to 1. And so I try to adjust to that just for this community alone. But when I go back to the States, I will be much more firm on my prices because I will offer a nationwide shipping. So that opens a huge market of people. So I don't have to think about, oh, in Southern Maine, what are their spending habits? When I open it up to the nation, you have a whole nation of people. So yes, to answer your question, I do sometimes put way more effort into a piece than I get paid for, but you know, so is business, so is life. I should probably do better. Okay, so that's 10 minutes. I'll answer the second part of it. Also, if it takes days to create a piece, do you do more than one piece at a time? So I used to work on multiple pieces at a time, but I think it depends on what your business model is. So for me, I am a brand ambassador for a few different companies, and so I'm required to give them a certain amount of content. And so for me, because I have 2 children and I don't quite have the room to work on multiple pieces, I try to work smarter and not harder. And what I mean by that is I take 1 piece a week and I try to pull as much content out of that piece as I can, whether that be pictures, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. So generally, now last week I was working on 2 different pieces. I was working on that gray bedroom set and that vintage duck egg buffet. But normally, so that I'm not overwhelmed and overworked, because I did this in the beginning of my business, and these are things that you will learn going on, is how much can you take on? How much do you want to take on? You know, my family needs to come first, so I can't be working at all hours of the night. You have to learn how to create boundaries. And so now I try as hard as I can to only work on 1 piece that I can walk away from, and I give myself a realistic timeline. So if something is taking me multiple days, my other clients, I'm very open and I say, listen, I'm not going to be, and I generally don't take pieces until I am absolutely ready for them. Again, because I don't have the room to store it. So I will say, hey, I will be able to give you a message in 2 weeks and I will take your piece. I know in the beginning of my business, I used to take on all this stuff because again, you're afraid that you will not get the business. But as time goes on, you really need to learn how to set boundaries and be more confident in who you are as a business owner. And if these people really want your work or want you to do their stuff, they'll wait. And most people are super kind and they really do wait and they understand. It's just us getting in our own head thinking, oh my gosh, if I don't get it done right away, they're gonna, and then also if you're rushing, you are compromising your quality. So step back, reevaluate, set some boundaries, and give yourself some grace. And your clients will give you grace. And if they don't, they're not your clients. They're not the kind of clients you want. If someone is rushing you to do something and they are not calm or they don't understand, then they're not the kind of clients you want anyways. Over time, you'll kind of get vibes from people and you'll know if they're going to be a pain in the butt client or they're going to be easy. For me, the only time I crunch time is when people have just found out about me and they are PCSing, which is permanent change of station for us when we move to different bases. And they're like, oh my gosh, I have been looking for someone to do this. Then I will take the time and kind of stop everything and crunch time for them because I want them to have something nice. And I know that a lot of them were looking for something. So different situations, but just remember to, what are you doing, buddy?
My dog is finally gone.
Oh, okay.
My ship.
And so you guys know, I multitask. My kids are always in the background when I'm doing stuff. That's why I do a lot of voiceovers on my videos because I don't want to tell them, no, you can't watch Blippi, or no, you can't do this, or you have to be quiet. So my son has actually been in the background the entire time. those are some questions I answered. I will answer more next week. If you guys are on my channel, I will put I don't know if I can link it, but I will link in the description below where I asked the question. So if you have questions, pop them in there and I'm gonna answer them. Could be anything. I will go in and try to answer stuff that's super easy for me to answer, not on video. And if I didn't get to your question this week, I promise I will get to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome week. I will have a furniture video out this week. It is going to be one that will be really good for a budget-friendly one for people who don't have the money to go out and buy brand new furniture. And so guys, make sure you're staying tuned. Again, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and I will see you guys later on this week. Have an awesome day. Bye guys.